and welcome to the Poverty Truth Network chat show. I'm Andrew, and in this series I'm meeting with commissioners from around the United Kingdom to find out what's going on in their Poverty Truth Commission, hear a bit of their experiences and their wisdom that's come out of it, and then begin to think how we as a network might be able to respond to some of the issues that are being faced by people. Today I have Marie, PJ, Jed and Lucy from the Gateshead Poverty Truth Commission. Welcome everyone.
Hi there.
Thank you. Hi.
With all the commissioners, we're starting by them just explaining to us and bringing to us an item that they could not do without, they could not live without, and explaining a little bit about themselves in relation to that item. So PJ, what have you brought along for us today?
It's very straightforward. It's a smartphone. Because I suffer from depression and anxiety, being able to communicate with professionals and my family especially, and friends is, a great comfort, especially during the lockdown time. So this is worth $1 million. It's a vital part of my daily structure.
Fantastic. Thanks, PJ. Lucy, how about you? What have you brought for us?
Mine's really silly. I brought my George Foreman, my lean, mean, fat reducing grilling machine. I got this at the start of lockdown. My friend was getting rid of it and I was like, I'll have that. And as a result, I've had a toasty every day, sometimes two. It's been the highlight of lockdown for me. So if you ever want tips on the perfect cheese toasty, let me know.
Excellent. So Lucy can't do without George Foreman. Fantastic. How about you, Jed? What have you brought for us?
Well, I brought a little paint kit of watercolours that I've had it since the 1980s, and it's like tin, and it has a little brush inside. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
I like to just put it in my pocket whenever I go anywhere and sketch a few pictures. It's nice to have to look at them, and it brings back the memories of the day.
Fantastic. Marie, how about you? Who have you brought?
I haven't brought anything because I couldn't get everybody in my house. And the friends are over the road getting looked after, and the animals are all around. So there you go. I can't bring anybody because it'd be too many in.
You can't live without people. Is that what you're telling us, Marie?
I can't live without Highfield because it's great.
Gateshead Poverty Truth is the youngest or the newest probably of all the Poverty Truth Commissions. You had your opening event 1 or 2 weeks before lockdown. So you'd made kind of all that work and got everybody together. PJ, you were a big part of that opening event. Just tell us something about the journey from starting to getting to that opening event.
I think it's quite amazing, really, that with 2 facilitators, a couple of other helpers as well, and basically a group of 9 people just started to bond with the stories that we had, the impacts of life on ourselves. We didn't all come at it from the same way. We had illness, we had immigration, we had children, we had single people. It was a complete diverse group, and yet with our common aim. And though at first the launch was a thing of dread, we just kept going and we kept going, and then after 9 months to have that amazing day, with the reaction from 130 people in our audience, from the local area and some national bodies, was just unbelievable. It was a highlight of this year. I'm still going to say it's beating COVID. It's just so good. It's amazing what you can do when you've got like-minded people.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess PJ, you were able to to speak at that event.
Yes.
How did that feel?
Well, because I have, I'm recovering from mental health issues. I had a lot of anxieties beforehand. I'll tell you. Even I had to have a couple of chats with Lucy to kind of, keep me on the team because I would start to wobble. But I mean, it was one of those things when you've gone through it, and afterwards I was thinking, wow, I couldn't. If you told me 9 months ago that I was going to do that, I'd have just said, "You're dreaming." There's no way. I'd be in pieces. And yet I managed to, you know, pull it off, if you like. And you're describing your inner fears, the things that have happened to you, and yeah, everything about it is positive. Um, I felt great afterwards. It was not only for the Truth Commission, but I benefited from it myself.
Lucy, as PJ alluded to, you're one of the facilitators for the Gateshead Commission. Do you want to talk to us about what it's like to kind of facilitate and then actually get to the day where you launch? How does that work?
Well, obviously everyone's really horrible and nasty all the time, so it's an awful group to work with. I mean, we were terrified. I remember the week before the launch, we had our dress rehearsal, and we all just looked at each other afterwards and thought, "What are we doing?" And at this point, like, we'd sold out. We had it in the chambers, the council chambers in Gateshead, and it was all full, and like our MP was coming and loads of really senior people, and we thought, what are we doing? But there's something about that pressure that, like, it made us bond loads. It really brought us together as a group, didn't it? And then by the end, when we all sat around afterwards and like debriefed in a circle, I remember thinking, like, you'd think that we'd known each other for years, because it like a rice cooker, like, it just like, it made the group feel so coherent. And maybe like some of that, like, flying by the seat of your pants isn't too bad, because I think it did feel really fresh. And like when everyone did the talky bits, particularly because we had lots of like mixed media, some of it was videos, but especially like Jed and PJ and even Marie spoke at the end and introduced lunch. Like, it felt really fresh and authentic, and it wasn't like polished, and people said they really liked that about it. So yeah, it was a really scary journey, but I think maybe that's part of it, and that's what is part of what makes a group.
Excellent. One of the really brilliant things about your launch, I was fortunate to be there, were some of the videos that were just really stunning. And we're just going to watch for a moment one of those videos. It's a poem that one of the community commissioners, Adam, wrote, and here it is for you.
I am fragile, I am heavy, I feel rough. I am worn out, I am stale, I smell rank. I am processed, I am trapped, I feel tired. I am a vulture, I am a dripping tap, I taste bland. I am cold, I am sleepless, I feel old. I am poverty.
You have your opening event and then lockdown happens. Jed, how's that experience been for you? And how has the commission kind of carried on during that time?
Initially, when the lockdown happened, I did feel like I'd lost some connection. I felt alone, and I started to do yoga and exercise every day. And that I built up a routine to get through the day. And when Lucy organised the Zoom meetings, we used to get texts from Lucy asking how we were, and we'd go back and forth. But the Zoom meetings have been had a massive effect on me. It's meant I can connect back with the group, and when I see the group as a whole, the people come and I know they're there, so I know I'm not alone because I can see this, and it's actually happening. So I think the connectivity we've had in the group, that's what's kept me going through the lockdown.
Marie, how about you? How's lockdown been for you? How's it been for the people of Highfield, most importantly?
Me and my friend come and moved in here as soon as the schools went, so was able to somebody look after children and someone go to the shop, and able me to go and see if people need stuff and that. But they took it. I mean, they took it on the chin, the kids. Well, mine did anyway. I mean, you couldn't see anybody playing out or anything. And then, like, Pickle Palace was doing deliveries, and I was phoning Keith up and making sure I was just passing by. And if someone was talking, saying that they needed something, and were having a hard time getting it, I mean, it was at the doorstep because I would give them it from Pickle Palace. The two girls do a great job. And I think the community is done a lot for each other. A lot. They've just rallied around, and if someone was going to the shops, they would get something at the shops.
Have you seen things, heard things, experienced things during lockdown that you think, actually, if we're going to really understand poverty, we need to think about that a little bit more or address that a bit more? Is there anything particular?
Well, do you know something, right? My daughter tried to commit suicide, right? She's got a mental health issue and she was taken in. I was trying to convince her to ring the emergencies, but no, I had to do it. And then my little one's dad tried to commit suicide just because they weren't working. He wasn't working, he didn't have the car, and it just closed into him that he couldn't go anywhere. And that wasn't just them two. There was a few men trying to commit suicide round at Highfield too, because they couldn't cope with it all, being in all the time. It's been horrendous. I think the children's cope more than what the adults have, to be honest. They said to me, we can't get anything at the middle shop, can you get it down the bottom? I went, yeah, sure. Went up, and then as I was going that way, I'd pop in and see somebody, at the doorway, and make sure that they were all right. Because even if you haven't got mental health, it was just really, getting to you. You didn't know what day it was or anything. It's horrendous, and it's still horrendous, to be honest, because people's lost their jobs. They've got nothing to go back for.
It strikes me, Marie, that one of the things that COVID has taught us is that we need one another. And actually places like Highfield need Maries, and lots of different Maries. And I guess that's partly one of the things that Poverty Truth does. It seems to gather those people that are, if you like, the caretakers for lots of different neighbourhoods around the country who've really got their ear to the ground. Over these last few months and up to a year of you working together and thinking these things through, there are some issues that you've thought, actually, this is not just a Gateshead issue. This is something that's a bit bigger than that. PJ, have you thought about anything that you kind of think, oh, actually, maybe the Poverty Truth Network might consider this?
One thing that's very current is that those of us on the basic universal credit, we're getting if you like, a top-up, a bonus at the moment. We're getting £80 a month more. And really, £400 should be the base, not 320. because 320 only allows you to exist with a nominal interaction in the community. And so my thought was that really we are good at collecting life experience stories. And so what it would be good for us to do is to say, well, this is what the difference has made to me by having this money. And then we can, list things activities we do, but we can't do without it. And the idea is it would be to do the length and breadth of the country, so that we could demonstrate that it's not just in the north or in this area or that. It's actually everybody has benefited the same way, and that gives us a powerful argument, really, to get onto the government to not relinquish this at the end.
Thanks, PJ. Jed, how about you? Anything for the wider network?
Yes, the place where I live, there's a lot of problems and people with issues, and when the lockdown happened, it didn't seem to affect them. So, and because when in normal society, when things are busy, you don't notice as much, but the drug addiction and prostitution and modern day slavery in some cases was very relevant, and they didn't adhere to the rules because they needed to live. And that's how they did live. And a lot of them from supported accommodation, they were getting their benefits. They were waiting the 5 weeks till they got the benefits, and then they got a large sum of money. And because they had these problems, having access to that much money at once, it meant they would relapse if they had addiction problems, or they would just disappear if they had some other problems, mental health problems. And because of that, they got evicted from the supported accommodation. The properties are making money out of this because you've got to sign your benefits over to them to move in, so they get the housing benefits. And it's just like a revolving door. People relapse, move out. The next lot will come in. We'll have them for 5 weeks, 5 weeks of money. They'll go, and then another lot will come in. It seems to me that there should be a better way to do this, that would benefit the people rather than someone making money. And I just thought the network might be interested in what's going on.
How about you, Lucy? Is there something that you kind of think, oh, the network, they could really, from what you've heard from other people's stories, the network could do something about this?
Yeah, I suppose the stuff that we've been talking about during lockdown has been like the ways that we see things are able to change, like the crisis is the perfect place for change to happen. And so some of the stuff that we've heard from Jed and PJ, we've seen really positive change with universal credit, and we've seen a much easier benefit system. You don't have to go into the Job Centre Plus, and there've been very few sanctions or even no sanctions, and there seems to be this national moment to say what's been good and what could have been better. And that stuff does feel global as well as national, and that's definitely stuff that the whole network, I'm sure, has been thinking about and talking about.
Hopefully over the next few weeks and months, we'll start to meet with some of the civic and business commissioners within Gateshead. What's your hope? What hope do you have for the rest of Gateshead Poverty Truth Commission?
After the powerful launch that we had and the response of people who are in decision making or power placement, where they can actually make an influence, that we can engage with these people. They want to engage with us and learn and accommodate some of the things that we feel that need to change. So I'm happy thinking that in the future we are going to make things better.
Lucy, how about you? What's your hope?
My hope is that in the same way that the group that has been so far, so community commissioners, and how close we've all felt and how much we've all like changed from knowing each other and supported each other. My hope is the next stage of the commission, when we're joined by civic and business commissioners, we might, as a bigger group, all still feel close and like develop really close relationships and come to rely on each other, whatever kind of commissioner everyone is.
Excellent. And for you, Jed, what's your hope?
My hope is that the connections we've made with these people in the civic industries, I would like to see some sort of action from what we're trying to do. You know, it's not about blame or anything like that. It's about being positive and what would make things a little bit better. It doesn't have to be a huge thing, you know, just baby steps. And it's a way forward. So that's my hope.
Excellent. And finally, Marie, what's your hope?
Well, I'm hoping that Lynn Twist's still going to take me down to Parliament so I can change the law for grandparents, right? That's what I want to do for all over. And put it this way, I'm gonna start texting her, I think. Hurry up and get over so I can get down there and get it changed.
You will be brilliant at that, Marie. Absolutely brilliant.
I only get one payment for one child. I know I'm just getting for our Maya, the carers and stuff like that, but I don't get anything else for the other 3 children of the government.
Yeah.
I just get what I need to get. And I think that all should change, because if I was a carer and they want my blood, I would get £500 per week for each child. £500. That's some money. They could have some life. I could buy my own house.
Marie, PJ, Lucy and Jed, thank you so much for sharing some of your experiences of the Gateshead Poverty Truth Commission. We are excited to see how your journey will develop over this next 12 months. If you want to find out more about Gateshead, then please look on their website. If you want to find out more about Poverty Truth commissions in general, then the povertytruthnetwork.org.uk is the place to look. And I look forward to seeing you.